Hello, everyone. This is the Stygian Archive, and this is Jay from IAT, and we have Dennis from Ghost Bath with us. How you doing, Dennis?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
That's good. That's good. How has 2026 been for Ghost Bath? I see that you guys went on the Rose Thorn Necklace Asia tour, and you had a documentary.
Yeah. Yeah, the past year we've done quite a few tours. We were pretty busy. This year, 2026 specifically, we're kind of taking a break. Like we only have the one run with Cradle of Filth and Suffocation. In May coming up, I take off in like a week to start that one. But yeah, we got to go to Asia, we got to go to Central America, we got to go to Europe. So it's just a ton of shows and yeah, it's been a good time. And then like we brought our friend along, Robin. He also did our music video for Rose Thorn Necklace. He's the one who came out
Okay.
to Asia and he did that documentary. And actually, right now, as we're speaking, he's back in China with his band Unrequited. They got flown out there to
Oh,
play one festival, and then they had to fly all the way back. So that's pretty crazy, like a 17-hour flight for one
yeah,
one
that's
show.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Yeah, I saw Liam stepped in with you guys. He's a booking agent over at Dynamic, right?
Yeah, he's been filling in for us for like the past 2 years now, like either
Okay.
guitar or bass, depending who
Nice.
can come along on the road with us. So,
That's cool. That's cool. So what was it like over in Asia? It's your first time in Asia, and what were some memorable shows and touring memories?
oh man, Asia was awesome. It was probably my favorite tour. It's just been kind of a bucket list thing for me. Um, just so many fans and so many cool places we got to go. Like, oh man, I think like China really surprised me. Just the amount of people, how big their venues were, and like every venue had a giant LED screen for their back. Like instead of like
Wow.
using a backdrop, it's just a complete like LED wall. Um,
Yeah.
the food was great. I love Asian food. But yeah, the craziest show was probably that festival that Unrequited is out playing now. It's called Cannes Festival. And it's on like an
Okay.
island where you take a plane right outside of Shanghai on a little island, and it's just like beautiful. We got to stay in like a resort, and you could just like see the water all around from the rooftop where they had like a bar. And we each got our own like room with like a hot tub, and there's like a huge room for each member,
Wow.
which is like not usual. They like really took care of us, so I really do appreciate all the promoters for that. But yeah, the show is like sold out. I think it was like I don't know 6,000 people or something, and but a weird thing was we had to sound check at like 3 in the morning because I'm not really sure why, to be honest. But like, yeah, we sound checked at 3 in the morning. Liam was asleep. I had to like go wake him up, and
That's
because
crazy.
like we're just exhausted and stuff. So uh,
Yeah.
when I woke him up and he forgot his bass head, you'll see in the if you watch the documentary, it's on YouTube right now. You'll see that we're just kind
Yeah.
of making fun of him because he forgot his bass head. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
just a crazy experience.
I got 10 minutes into it. I got to finish the documentary, but I'll finish checking that out. Yeah, Asia is crazy with metal. Their scene is nuts. I've watched a few Chthonic videos, and like it's always like huge crowds out in Taiwan, stuff like that. So
Mhm.
yeah, man. um, I see you guys landed a tour with Cradle of Filth and Suffocation. There's some really legendary bands in their genre. How did you feel?
I'm sorry you cut out. What did you say?
I said, I see you guys landed a tour with Cradle of Filth and Suffocation.
Mhm.
There's some legendary bands in that genre, and how did you feel about getting on that tour, getting on that bill?
Um, well, I was pretty stoked, and then like a bunch of people dropped off the tour. We're with like a bunch of members, so I think we have like a fill-in drummer. Liam's filling in on one guitar, and then we have uh, actually my music attorney's filling in on the other guitar, Bobby,
Wow,
and
it's
then
crazy.
so it's just me and our bass player Josh are like the only Ghost Bath members that are going on it. So it's been a little stressful, just like getting everything ready, and like we haven't even played together as a band yet. That's what I'm going to fly out on like the 25th. So I hope everything comes together. It usually does, but it's always kind of stressful till you get like a show or two in with all new members and stuff. I
Yeah,
think it'll be good. It'll be a good run. Like I don't think Cradle of Filth has been here for a while, so I think people will come out to check them out, and we're open to find some new fans because I'm sure like people who listen to Cradle of Filth don't all know who we are, so it'll be good for them to be able to hear us, and hopefully people like us. I don't know.
yeah. They were actually here, Neoblivis Scarus and Flesh God, I believe. I actually went to that show, so they were here not that long ago.
Oh yeah,
Um,
didn't like Uwada play with them or something on the West Coast?
well,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah. Uada did a West Coast tour, and then they did more of like with Flesh God Apocalypse and Neoblivis Scarus, I
Hmm.
think. Yeah, that was pretty killer show. I didn't watch Cradle of Filth all the way through, but from what I heard, they were tight. They were really tight. So yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk about the ascent of Ghostbath. From my memory, you guys had a pretty fast start. Um, just give me some insight. What was that like when you first started Ghostbath? And when did you notice that Ghostbath was officially taking off or arriving?
Okay, this is a long time ago. This is like 2013, like 13 years ago. Let me see. So I started it like by myself. I remember I was living in a house with like a bunch of college dudes. There's like six guys living in one house, and then my room flooded. So I had to like move. I moved back in with my parents in their basement. I didn't have anywhere where else to live, and I just like I had quit music in a way because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go back to college. Like I had a band before Ghost Bath, and we didn't really like get anywhere with it, and so I was like, oh, I can't just keep doing this. But so I started Ghost Path as just like a one man black metal type project, just for fun. And at first, like we got contacted by a label in China. Actually, they wanted to put out some CDs, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. We can do that. It was just like a self titled CD, and then I had like I don't know. I think it was $1,000, and I wanted to record Moon Lover.
Okay.
And so I just like packed everything in my car and I drove to Michigan to record with Josh Schroeder. And he's like, okay, for $1,000, I can do like 3 days. I was like, all right, deal, let's do it. So I went out there for 3 days. I recorded that album. And then I put it out on a smaller label called Northern Silence out of Germany.
Okay. I've heard of them.
And I don't know, I started getting like coverage. I think it started with Stereo Gum covered us, and then it
Okay.
kind of snowballed from there. Like a bunch of other outlets and journalists like started doing articles on us, and then I hit up Josh Schroeder, the producer. He does like a lot of big bands now. He's the one who did like Lorna Shore and shit like that.
Nice.
He knew a bunch of like labels and stuff. I was like, hey, can you hook me up with some labels? Like all these outlets are doing stories on us and stuff. And then I got a cold email from Steve Joe. At the time he worked for Century Media. I was like, oh, this is sick. So then Josh like told Nuclear Blast and Roadrunner and like all these other labels, Sumerian. I don't even remember who I all talked to, but they all started calling me. It was just like kind of like a big snowball effect. Like once one person wanted to talk to me, they all did. So like I just remember like talking on the phone with them, and Nuclear Blast was like, "Oh yeah, just like go in our shop, any vinyl you want, just pick it out, we'll send it out to you." Like they're just like trying to like get me to sign with them, I guess. So yeah, I ended up going with Nuclear Blast. Um,
Nice.
Monty Connor like really enjoyed us, and I still work with him. Like we just signed another deal with them. So yeah, it was kind of like a. You're right. It was like a quick thing. Like all of a sudden, like everyone just started covering us, and the hype was real. And so yeah, we've just been going ever since. That was like 2014, 2015 when we signed with them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, on with like probably the biggest metal label in the world, so you know
Oh yeah.
that's exciting. Very exciting. All right, let's talk about the origins of Ghost Bath. What was the initial vision that you had for Ghost Bath? You kind of covered it a little, but you can expand on that. What was the initial vision? Um, how did it all come together in the early days to become a full touring outfit?
Okay, well, right away, my initial idea was I picked up a record um, by a band called Agalock. Which
Oh,
record was it? Marrow of the Spirit. And I like listened to that with my friend in my car. I just picked it up based on the artwork. I had never heard of them. I just went to like a record store. I saw the CD. I grabbed it. I was like, "Oh, let's check this out." And like the the first song with like the cellos into the second song was just like a crazy drum fill into black metal, and it was like super melodic. I was like, "Oh, I want to make something like this." So that was kind of like the initial inspiration. But then I also had been listening to this band called Silencer, which
dude,
I just
Silencer
randomly found them.
they are insane. I used to get into like Silencer and Total Self Hatred and Weakling bands like
Mhm.
that. Dude, they're
Yeah,
so good.
yeah. Somehow I found it on like YouTube or something. I found DSBM and the Silencer vocals. Like at first, I was like laughing at it, and I remember I lived in North Dakota at the time, and the guys who were in Ghostbath were in another band, and they were touring through in Fargo. And I like went out to Fargo, and I was like, guys, you got to like check out this band. They're so funny. And I like played Silencer for him in my car. But then like I started unironically liking them like over time, and I was like, oh, I should
Yeah,
like do vocals like this. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do like Agalock stuff and like scream like Silencer. So that was like my initial idea behind the band, and I got like super into DSBM, like a bunch of um, depressive black metal stuff.
yeah.
And then you said as far as like becoming a touring outfit, well, basically once I signed with Nuclear Blast, I was like, oh, I want to start touring. Like I had toured with my last band before. I was like, oh, this would be fun to tour with. And so those guys that I played Silencer for, they all lived in Minneapolis,
Oh,
and basically got all the members of that band. They were called Alistair Hennessy. They're like a post-hardcore band or something. Um,
okay.
so yeah, John, the guitarist, Tim, their other guitarist, Josh, the bassist, and then I don't remember how we found Jason, the our first drummer. I think one of them knew him. So I lived in Minot, North Dakota. It would be an 8-hour drive every time I wanted to rehearse, and I would drive out there and we'd like go over the songs before a tour and then start touring like that.
That's dude, that's dedication, man.
Well, yeah,
Eight
I
hour
didn't really
drive.
have anyone in North Dakota to play with, so I
Yeah,
had to make do.
that's cool. That's cool. I was gonna ask you about that dynamic, because I knew that you had some members in in Minnesota. Um, so let's just speak on the band dynamic and um, tell me about the challenges of living that far away, and you know the challenges that creates, and just how like now you have technology that allows you to create remotely, and how you've adapted with that new technology.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like super dedicated. Like I was really excited. I think being signed to Nuclear Blast and then getting all these tours. I was like, I don't care. 8 hours is nothing. And I guess for me, living in North Dakota, everything's far away. So it might like sound further to a lot of people who live like, I don't know, on the coast or like near other cities. Like in North Dakota, just the next city's like an hour and a half away or whatever. So like 8 hours
Yeah.
to me wasn't the biggest deal. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna do it. And basically it was just a matter of every tour I would just have to like go out there like a few days before to a week before for us to rehearse, and then we'd go on the road. And that's what we still do today. Like I live in Pittsburgh now and they all still live in Minneapolis. So I just gonna fly out there. We're gonna rehearse before the tour and then we go out. So um I actually, so as far as writing like records together, we're actually working on a new record now. And basically I like playing in a room together. It's just we don't really get to as much. So I went out there last month. I think we just had to be like speedy about it just to get like the bare bones of songs done because we only have so much time and then I have to fly back.
Hmm.
But otherwise we just been like sending, I just have a Google Drive link
Okay.
and I will like demo stuff on my computer and then just send it to them. Like that's all we've been doing. We just have like a group chat and I
Okay.
just send them the link and then I'll be like, "Hey, what do you think of this, or do you want to add your own stuff to it?" And then our drummer is actually our, for this record, it's our initial drummer that we had back way back in 2015. We haven't been with him for years, but he wanted to come back and play with us. So he's the one who's working on the record with us. And I'm just kind of waiting for him to put his drums to the guitar parts that I'm making. But like right now, I just program drums to it just to
Okay.
write.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
So you're in Pittsburgh. Oh,
Hmm.
that's cool. Yeah, I have a lot of friends out in Pittsburgh. I know you guys toured with Uada before, but Nate from the bassist from Uada, he was living in Pittsburgh, and I met him over there. So he's definitely the homie, and he introduced me to Jake, the vocalist in Uada.
Hmm.
All right. Growing up in North Dakota, what was that like, and how did you stumble across music and becoming a touring musician?
Um, what was it like? Well, there was not a lot of people, but actually, I was lucky growing up because we had like a pretty strong music scene. Um,
Okay.
I started playing guitar when I was like 12, like middle school ish. And as soon as I started playing, I was playing shows just with my friends. And there's like a bunch of venues. One called the Red Carpet. There's one called the Pangea House. And we could just play there whenever. And like touring bands would come through. It wouldn't be like huge shows like Cradle of Filth or something. It'd be like, I don't know, kind of smaller punk bands, maybe like Fear Before the March of Flames or like,
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what kind of smaller bands came through. Just like about that size band, like mid size, I guess. But yeah, I played a ton of shows, and then I went on my first tour when I was like 17. Went to South Dakota, and yeah, I think at that first show we played at some hotel, and someone got stabbed to death, and then the venue closed down. I forgot about that till just now. Yeah, yeah. Someone got
That's fine.
stabbed to death at my first out of town show. Um, and then me and my band and the other Ghost Bath guys in their band, Alistair Hennessy. I was in a band called I Apparatus. We did like a full US DIY tour when I was like, I don't know, 20, 19, 20, something like that.
Hmm.
And we like made a documentary that it's on YouTube, but I have it like privated. Just because I don't know, we are young and dumb and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was just a lot of like DIY stuff, I guess. I don't know.
that's wild. So say that the metal scene out in that area is it thrive just music in general?
I mean, there's a few metal bands. It was never like huge with metal. It was mostly punk stuff, I would say. And when I was growing up, it was like Midwest emo and post hardcore type stuff. It wasn't a ton of metal. There was a few metal bands here and there, but that was few and far between, I would say. But we did have like a venue in my hometown of Minot called The Original, and they would get some pretty big metal bands. Like I've seen Machine Head there, and Steel Panther plays there all the time. It's kind of funny.
It's
I
wild,
saw
man.
Alien Ant Farm there. That was cool. They were really good.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, um, so this wouldn't be a Ghost Bath interview if I didn't ask this question. So your project has always had this identity thing where the origin of the band wasn't always so transparent. And then in, I believe, 2016, 2017, you guys revealed that you were from North Carolina. I mean, North Dakota. Originally, it was rumored that you were from China. So, what was behind that whole story?
Um, Again, this is a long time ago. I think what I did was basically on Bandcamp. That's kind of the main hub where I was putting out my music. You had to put a location, and I was like, oh, I could be like a project nobody knows who it is or where they're from, but it wouldn't let you just leave it blank. So I don't know. I just picked China on a whim, I guess. There was no like, oh, I have to pick China for this reason or that reason. I was like, oh, somewhere far away, so no one knows who I am, type of thing. And then I think because of that, the Chinese label reached out, or the first one. It wasn't Pest Productions. Pest Productions also put out our stuff, but then we released on Chinese labels. So then I think people even more so thought we were actually from China.
Okay.
It's kind of funny, like coming full circle and then like touring out in China. Like everyone in China
Yeah.
like kind of knew about it and they're like stoked on it and stuff. They're like, "Oh, you're from
That's
Chongqing," or where I put on the Bandcamp. They thought it was
yeah,
pretty funny. And like the original Chinese label that put out our CD like over 10 years ago, they helped book the tour and everything. So it was really cool.
really. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I remember hearing the story back then, and it was very clouded, and it obviously became a talking point for the band to blow up. So
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah. And I was like trolling people, journalists, stuff like that. I don't know, just having fun.
Yeah, yeah, it's all good. So the writing process, when it comes to like the songwriting, are you like the main person behind writing like the music, or do you all contribute equally? And what is it usually? I know you touched in a little bit on that, but if we dabble back into that, that would be cool.
I mean, it depends album by album, really. Like the first four albums, I just wrote like sitting in my chair on my computer. Um, the first stuff, I had a demo version of FL Studio, and
Okay.
so I couldn't save the project. Like I had to, like you could export the music, but you couldn't save it as a project. So I had to do the entire song in one session or just be gone. So
Okay.
so writing the first four albums, each song was done in one session because I couldn't really like edit it or go back and do anything to it. Um,
That's great.
yeah, but I think that like kind of shaped how I did the songs and like made them different than they would be otherwise. Like if I could just go back and keep editing things, it'd kind of change how they would sound. So I think it just gave them the sound that they have. Um, then Self Loather was the first one that like the entire band wrote on, and that one we basically all just contributed equally. Like usually one of the guitarists will come up with like the main riff, and then the rest of us will either contribute ideas or like if we all get together in a room and just kind of jam on it and work it out that way. Um, some songs I would just write completely by myself. Still,
Okay.
even on Self Loather, I did a couple. Um, but yeah, usually it'll be like one of the three guitarists. We have three guitar players. Will kind of come to the table with an idea, and then we work it out from there. Rose Thorn Necklace, the newest one that just came out. I just wrote in my office alone, and then I programmed the drums, but then I sent uh, the tracks and the programmed drums to Mike Heller from
Okay.
Fear Factory. He did the drummers. He did the drummers. He did the drums. He like has his own studio and records the drums himself. So he kind of would do the parts, send it to me. I'd be like, okay, you're going way too crazy here. Slow it down, because he's an insane drummer. But
Yeah.
I had to like reel him back a little bit. But I also let him like do his thing on a lot of parts, so it kind of gave it its own feel, and I like that too. Um, and then this newest album we're all doing together. Like I said before, we're just like sending files back and forth. There's a few songs that I just wrote completely by myself. There's a few songs that like some of the other guys wrote by themselves, and then most of them will all just like contribute our own parts. Starts with a guitar riff. We usually do all the music first, and then I do vocals and lyrics. That's always like after everything else. Um, so I haven't even started like lyrics, vocals. I'll have like some little bit of like idea of how I want to do it, but I kind of wait till it's put together to get the vocals done.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Um, Usually with my band, that's how it works too. I write the lyrics after we use the music. We write the
Mhm.
music. Um, Sound. So Ghost Bath sound has always walked the edge between like depressive black metal and shoegazy um, textures. When you sit down and write, is it coming from more of like an emotional state, or is it more of a sonic thing, or is it something different? And what's your mentality, your song structures? It's changed since Moon Lover era, and then up until the latest release, Rose Thorn Necklace. So, what was the difference in reality and just your emotional state at that point?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually always some kind of negative energy that I'm expressing, or like using the music for like a catharsis sort of effect. So if
Okay.
I'm in a bad mood, I'll just like pick up my guitar. I've been playing guitar for so long that I'm just like, I don't know, it's just kind of like an extension of me in a way. And so yeah, it's just like usually all emotional and just playing what I feel, I guess. Like I had guitar lessons when I was like 12 for like 6 months, but I don't really know like much guitar theory or anything like that. I just play by ear and like feel and stuff like that. So um yeah, it's whatever sounds good. um like each album, I mean, it's been, what is it, 13 years since the band started, so of course I've like felt different ways and explored different ideas and feelings and stuff. So like the this newest one that just came out, Rose Thorn Necklace, I was just like super depressed after a tour. It was just like one of the worst tours I ever did. So usually when you're done with a tour, I don't know if you experience like a post tour depression or whatever, when you get back home, you're like,
Dude,
oh, this sucks.
yeah, because you feel you're losing who you are. You're like you lose that sense of identity. It definitely sucks, man.
Hmm.
Tours, but we're gonna be hitting the West Coast and Canada soon, so I'm excited. But that post tour depression, yeah, it's real. It's definitely real, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So that just, for that tour, the tour like sucked in a lot of ways. I'm not going to get into all the details of why, but I was sick the entire tour, so that just really sucked. Like we all had COVID, and then we all got something else after it, like right away. So I was sick for like the entire tour plus like a month and a half after the tour. So I was just wrecked. So yeah, I just like sat right in this seat and just like worked on that album for like 10, 12 hours a day.
Wow, yeah, and you're a vocalist at that, so um,
Oh
let's get
yeah.
into
Yeah, I would just like take a bunch of medicine before I went on stage. I'd be like, I had like a fever. I'd be like sleeping in the van and then just like take a bunch of medicine, go on stage, perform. I'm like all like covered in sweat, and then like go back and sleep. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, it added to the aesthetic, but that's it. Yeah. So let's talk about your gear. I was looking at a few things and I noticed that you were endorsed by Orange at point, or you're still endorsed by Orange?
Hmm.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about like some essential gear that gives you your sound in Ghost Bath and your other projects, and expand on the relationship with Orange amps and the gear you use. So that you know you're a DMM shoegaze band, but it's still in the metal realm, and you choose to use like a Telecaster with single coils. How does that like give you the sound that you're?
Yeah, I think that comes definitely from the Midwest because all those post-hardcore bands and like emo core bands were using oranges, they were using Fenders, and so there's this band called Hands. Like
Okay.
what label were they on? They're like a Christian post hardcore band or something. But I watched them play and they had like a Telecaster through an orange. I was like, oh, that sounds so good. So ever
Yeah.
since I like started touring with my last band, that's what I used. And I've just liked it ever since. I just like that. I don't know. It just sounds so good, and like people at first when we first came out would like come up to me like, oh, how are you using like a Telecaster in metal, or they think it's so weird, and like our other guitarist uses Tim uses a Stratocaster, and I don't know, I just I like being different, I guess. But also I just like the sound. Like I'll play anything else and then I'll go back to it, I'm like, yeah, this I like this sound better. I think I've just like learned to use it over so many years that now it's just kind of my sound. I like how when you can like play a full chord, you can like hear all the notes in the chord. I don't really like scoop my mids like most people do in metal, or a lot of people do. Like my mids are pretty cranked to cut through, and it just gives like kind of that wall of sound. I guess that's kind of where like a shoegaze sound could come into it. Um, yeah, three guitars, orange amps. It's just like a. I just like things being loud and big and solid. So that's kind of where that comes from. Um, this new album we're working on now, I got a Vox, so I'm gonna do play with some different sounds. I got like a what is it? The hand wired AC30 there.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
using
sick.
some like chorus pedals, but yeah, I try to keep it as simple as I can. Just like a reverb. I use the onboard reverb on the Rock Reverb 100, and then a Telecaster. I got like the American original 60s Telecaster in blue, and that's what I've been using for most of the time. Before that, I just had like a Mexican Telecaster, a black one.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you guys are very melodic, so it would make a lot of sense. You get a lot of the treble out of those types of guitars and Stratocasters, so that makes a lot of sense to me. Vocal wise, your vocals are very raw and they have that tortured shriek and that, DSBM style. You want to go over, develop that technique and, specific. I know you spoke about Silencer, but is there anyone else that influences your?
Um, it depends. Like, well, at first I didn't have lyrics for the first four albums. And I got that idea from a band called Sigur Rós from Iceland. They like make up their own language when they sing. They sing, they don't scream. But I was like, oh, I could like do something like that, but with screaming, where I kind of just make up my own language and like fit the music. Um, I did that, and then with Self Loather, I started doing lyrics just because I was like, okay, I think I've like explored everything and done everything I want with like the made up words and language. So I wanted to change things up. Um, Also, at first, I had no technique at all, and I would just scream as loud as I could. Like it would like shred my throat, and I would lose my voice every tour. and like taste blood and stuff. And I was like, I couldn't just keep doing it because I was doing like, I think we did one of the longest European tours. It was like almost 2 months. I was like, how I just couldn't talk the entire time. I'm like, okay, I got to change things up. So I figured out how to do actual vocals, like black metal sounding type stuff. I still do like the high pitch type screams too, but just not as much because I just my throat can't handle it really. But I learned to do that from there's a YouTube channel called Cardivox Academy. He's like a metal vocal teacher, and I just kind of listened to how he described how to do the vocals and learned that way. Um, and as far as like vocal, yeah, Silencer was like a big inspiration. Sigur Rós was just for like the language. Trying to think, I don't know, like when I do vocals, I'll like listen to another band for a little bit and just kind of like to get it in my head. So like a lot of times it'll be like Immortal or something, even though I don't think I sound like Immortal. It just kind
Yeah.
of puts my ear in a certain spot where I can like scream like that. And then when I'm doing my lows, I actually listen to like some death metal, maybe like modern death metal stuff. Like I listen to Witch Vomit or like Tomb Mold or something like that. And
Okay. Yeah.
right before I do the low vocals, and then I kind of like again, it's like it's weird. It like gets in my head, and then I'm able to kind of do my own version of it.
Nice. Nice. Um, I just want to touch on if I could kill myself. I noticed that you released a new album in 2026, right? Do you want
Yep.
to on that Steel Death?
Yeah. That album is just all me. That project's just like my side project that I do. I just recorded it in FL Studio with a drum machine and just in my office by myself. um, I initially had one other album. I think it came out. When did that come out? Like 2017. It's called Ballad of the Broken,
Yeah.
and that I was like super lo-fi raw. I was just kind of I don't know, just doing anything. I just like wasn't holding myself back. I was just screwing around with really weird ideas. And I think it's kind of like an infamous album, like in a bad way. It's like one of the lowest rated albums on like Rate Your Music or whatever.
That's
Like,
wild.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I thought
The
that was
cover is
funny.
crazy. The cover is crazy.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
like
it's a
the sword.
painting, yeah, of the sword in
Yeah.
here. Yeah, yeah. So then, yeah, this new one, I wanted to make more music, but I don't want to put out like tons of music with Ghostbath. You know, and we were working on this new one that we're doing now, but I just had so many ideas. It's like, oh, I'll just do another If I Could Kill Myself album. So I just wanted to make that one super heavy. Like it has a ton of like heavy blast beats and heavy parts,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, that was just the idea of that one. Just like I just wanted a heavy DSBM album. So.
Yeah. That's sick. That's sick. So I think I'm gonna wrap up. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thanks for taking your time to give us some insight on Ghost Bath.
Oh,
Any
thanks for having me.